I'm Kevin Gehl, voice of the Crusaders, and this is Satyr Stories, the official podcast of Holy Cross Athletics, presented by UMass Memorial Health. On this episode, we celebrate 2024 Holy Cross Varsity Club Athletic Hall of Famer, Sam Fregenti. She was named All-Patriot League every year of her outstanding Holy Cross softball career, on her way to setting program records for home runs and slugging percentage. You can call her one of the best sluggers in program history, and we're thrilled to have her here on Satyr Stories. Sam, congratulations on reaching the Hall of Fame.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Kevin, and really happy to be here.
Great to have you here. How did you first find out that you are now a Varsity Club Hall of Famer?
So I was out to dinner. I live in Manhattan in New York City, and I was just with some friends, and I get a phone call come through from Gary Aqua, who president of the Varsity Club, and who I had the pleasure of overlapping at our times together at Holy Cross. Hadn't talked to Gary in years, so was really surprised to see his name come through on my phone. And so we chatted, and he shared the incredible news. I was totally shocked. I had no idea I had been nominated. So after we hung up the phone, I started making my rounds to first was my parents, my husband, trying to figure out where this came from. And eventually we figured out that two of my close friends from Holy Cross, Chris Calpin and Jacob Kripp, we had been friends and known each other since Wheeler in freshman year, and they were always at my games, and they had submitted on my behalf and worked with my teammates to collect stories and statistics. So it was a total shock, and just felt really, really privileged to get that information and to know that my community and amazing friends had done that on my behalf.
I love the secrecy of the Varsity Club process because it creates such a great surprise, like you got to experience a nomination out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So now you're in rare company, the first softball inductee since 2014. What kind of pride does that give you in representing not just yourself and your family, but the entire Crusader softball program?
Yeah, immense pride. I mean, when I was at Holy Cross, I had, of course, seen the statistics, Mary Beth, and just
Hmm.
known, through alumni opportunities, just that legacy that had been there, and to be a part of this bigger community is just it's yeah it I couldn't imagine it, and just being thinking of myself as a freshman and seeing those great accomplishments that those before me had and what it meant to the program, and to now be a contributor to that is it fills me with so much pride.
We're a couple months removed now from your induction ceremony. What kind of fond memories do you have looking back on that weekend with your fellow Hall of Famers on a Holy Cross campus that has just grown by leaps and bounds since you left?
Yeah, it was so remarkable to be back there. It came at such a great time. I had been going through some personal just challenges with my health, and having this a few weeks later was just like could not have come at a better time. My family, my parents came. My husband is from France. So his dad came, and this was like a total, the quintessential movie campus experience. So being there and being able to share that with them was so incredible. Giving them a tour, showing them the classrooms, and the amazing facilities that were there that I didn't unfortunately get to experience, but that opportunity to share that with them was just truly special. And I had so many friends fly in from Chicago, from North Carolina, my friends bringing their kids, and just we hadn't all been together on campus like that in a while. So sharing that with my friends and former teammates. I just felt again just really privileged that they took the time to be there with me and my family. And then a total highlight was getting to meet the team, and meeting Coach Ladino for the first
Hmm.
time. We got to watch one of their practices and talk to the girls. They put together this amazing tailgate on our softball field. So to be back at freshman field, to have quality time with the current players, hear about what they're studying, what they hope to do when they graduate, and seeing some of my former teammates that I hadn't seen since graduation coming to be there too was a total highlight. So yeah, it was just really special. Made me so filled my cup so much to be back on campus at a time when I really needed it, and was just such a great reminder of the incredible community that I have being a part of Holy Cross.
That's wonderful. And hearing that you had friends and family there from all over the world, when they got to learn a little bit more about your place in Crusader softball history, just the second player ever to be a four-time All Patriot League selection. When you think back and you share some of your memories and your accomplishments, what creates the most pride in you? And how do you share that with your family from France, your in-laws, who probably don't have a lot of experience understanding softball?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think what transcends is they understand just the commitment and the work of what that they may not understand like the rules of softball, but they understand that I was traveling every weekend on top of balancing a course load and to be able to share like a part of me that they never really got to experience was really special. Um, and I just, yeah, I look back on that and just also think about how I could not have, it wasn't me, it was my team that got me there and my parents that really like sacrificed so much to get me to the point of Holy Cross and to make me the player that I am today, or the player that I was then and the person that I am today. And the teammates that helped me to achieve that. Like I was reflecting on my friend Nicole, who would come to the batting cages with me outside of practice, and we would take extra reps. Or my friend Kat, who is still one of my like best friends today, that was such a source of support for me. My teammate Kat, and so it was really yes, like the honors were tied to me, but so much of it was as a result of the teammates and the community that I had backing me.
Let's take a short break. When we return, we'll talk with Sam about her path to the Holy Cross Varsity Club Athletic Hall of Fame right here on Sater Stories.
We are UMass Memorial Health, and innovation is something that defines us, that drives us to discover new ways to provide answers and hope, to provide opportunity and access and equity for everyone, to redefine what medicine can do and how it can heal relentlessly.
Yeah.
Glad we got Jersey Mike's for the game.
Wait, does our mascot look like Danny DeVito to you?
Yeah, it does. That doesn't matter. This is a commercial for Jersey Mike's, where the subs matter most. Freshly sliced right in front of you. That's what they're all about.
You on the cheer squad?
And up see Daisy. Yeah!
Ooh.
Oh, don't worry about me. Focus on those subs. Where the subs matter most. It's a Jersey Mike's thing. A sub above.
Don't miss the six-time defending Patriot League football champions back in action this fall here at Holy Cross. Crusader fans can place a deposit today on 2025 season ticket memberships. Guarantee the best seating and parking options at the best price by visiting goholycross.com/tickets. You can also call 1-844-GO-CROSS. I'm Kevin Gehl, voice of the Crusaders, and this is Sater Stories, presented by UMass Memorial Health. I'm joined by 2024 Holy Cross Varsity Club Athletic Hall of Fame inductee, Sam Fregenti from Crusader Softball. Sam, growing up on Long Island, how did you first connect with the game of softball?
Yeah, so I started at a really young age. Like kindergarten playing t-ball. Ironically on the purple team. So I have to say I like started and ended my softball career in purple. And ever since then, that was just my sport. I think we were also my family, a big baseball family. We're a huge Yankees family. We have a room in our house, my parents' house, like pinstripes devoted to Yankee memorabilia. And so I think it was just always a part of our family life, whether, baseball and then softball, of course. There's a huge softball community on Long Island, and was really fortunate to be a part of such a strong community of competitive athletes, both at a high school level as well as a travel ball level. So it just carried through my entire childhood up until I went away to college. But it really started with my parents signing me up for T-ball, and my dad always coaching me all the way through college.
You always had such a tremendous career as a hitter, a slugger, driving in runs, hitting homers. Who are some softball and baseball hitters that you looked up to growing up?
Yeah. I from baseball, one of my favorite players was always Lou Gehrig. So someone I always tried to channel and admire. And then just I grew up in a time where there was softball, college softball was so exciting. And so growing up and seeing just Jenny Finch and these like icons that were making such a name for the sport, and back then the softball was also an Olympic sport, and so it just always felt I had such role models of particularly college age girls that my teammates and I would after practice would go home and watch games and then come back the next day and talk about them, and so I'm not thinking of a specific individual, but I just feel like that collective time where just softball was like such a it felt like such a force for our country was, I think, I feel really lucky that that was happening at the same time as I was really growing up in the sport.
That really was an explosive time in
Yeah.
women's D1 softball, 2010 to 2013. You got an opportunity to play for head coach Brian Claypool at Holy Cross. How did he first recruit you to the Crusaders?
Yeah, I think the first tournament, I was playing on a travel team from Long Island, and we were in a tournament up in Massachusetts, which I believe was the first time Coach Claypool saw me. I had a good tournament. I don't know what was with that field, but I hit pretty well that weekend. And so that after that we started. It was during that communication time when you're allowed to start, talking to coaches, and was soon able to visit the campus for an official visit, and I just immediately fell in love. It's so anyone who's been there can attest to how beautiful it is. But what really struck me was just the current players that I had met, seeing how involved they were with campus life. It wasn't, yes, softball was a big part of their life, but they were also chemistry majors and coming to and from lab and doing other extracurriculars like being resident assistants. And I just appreciated how holistic their experience seemed to be. Coach Claypool really drove home that you're a student athlete and student comes first. And that was a different message than I had been getting from some of the other colleges that I had been talking to at the time, and recognizing that college and this experience would be to prepare me for a life when I wasn't playing softball. And so hearing that emphasis on your studies and your life outside of the sport while also playing at a very competitive level was what really struck me the most.
You really burst on the scene in Worcester, earning first team All Patriot League honors as a designated player right out of the gate as a freshman. How do you feel you made the most of your very first season as a student athlete, considering all those balances you had to make between athletics and academics?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a tough transition, and was just trying to just stick to um, what I knew and my fundamentals that came from my coaches and what my I would call my parents, and they would also reiterate what my longtime batting coach would tell me from Long Island. I'm a lefty and batter, and I think I a lot of times they'll try and pitch lefties outside because they don't want you to rope one inside. And fortunate for me, that was a strength of mine. So I think because I was new, and they didn't have kind of scouting on me, that was most where a lot of where other teams would just kind of pitch me. And so I was able to really try and lean into that strength in hitting opposite field and going to that side. And so I was fortunate that set me up for a solid first year hitting.
Well, I guess the scouting report didn't get around in your sophomore year that you could hit to all fields, because during that campaign, you set the single season program records for homers, RBIs, and slugging. How did your plate approach really start to improve? How did you grow as a player as you became a marked woman around the Patriot League in the batting order?
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, so I think then second season, then the plan is, okay, let's come in inside at her. And I wasn't, and I think my coaches too really encouraged me to not be afraid of that inside. So I unabashedly crowded the plate. And I think it may not be in this statistic, but that season I also was top NCAA for getting hit by the most pitches. I think I was like top 20 or something in the country for getting hit by the most pitches. So really was not afraid to just crowd the plate and kind of just dare pitchers to come inside, or they can try go outside, and I would still try and reach that. So I think building off of my freshman year and just trying to be more aggressive at the plate was helpful. I also just had amazing teammates in our lineup that really, I think, set me up for success. I had Keely Senek, who batted ahead of me, and then Erin Fleming, who batted behind me. And so we joked it was like our own little version of Murderers Row from the iconic Yankees team. So I think being sandwiched between two such great hitters, I think, forced pitchers to have to come to me because they didn't want to face Keely before me, and they also didn't want to face Erin behind me. So it's certainly not lost on me that without having those two incredible players that I looked up to, certainly contributed to my success.
That murderer's row in the batting order really paid off, because that sophomore season was your best at Holy Cross. 10 wins as a team in Patriot League play and a postseason appearance. Overall, what do you think made that group of Crusaders special in 2011?
Yeah, I mean, it was just such great chemistry, as I'm sure any athlete will say, like, it's just when it clicks, there's just nothing like it. And I think that's one of such a team. I was so proud of all of my teams, but there was certainly something special about that year. And it so much too was just what we did off the field. Like, it was the chemistry, it was the fundamentals, and so much basics and the drills that we did in practice. But off the field, I would be with a lot of those girls in the library together, or we had so many fun memories, parties, things outside of that too, that I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but translated, to that trust and that friendship on the field that I think really helps. And we had such a stellar group of girls: Caitlin Belanger, Keely, Erin, who I mentioned, and countless others that I'm not saying, but I think just that combination of ability and chemistry just really took us really far.
You had a spectacular career that wrapped up in 2013, obviously made lifelong friendships and built a wonderful career that still stands in the Holy Cross record books. I know it's special to go back and see your name still in those record books, but so much more goes into being a Hall of Famer. This is a tough question, but we ask all of our Varsity Club Hall of Famers, what do you feel, Sam, sets you apart as a Holy Cross Varsity Club Hall of Famer?
Yeah, such a tough question. I think obviously it's softball and what I was fortunate to achieve in my time there. But I think I had such a holistic experience at Holy Cross that I think just rounded me out as a person and a member of the campus community. I was a resident assistant for 3 years. I was an orientation leader. I was fortunate to take part in psychology research. I feel it wasn't, and I'm sure this is true for so many Hall of Famers. It was more than just the sport and the academics, but how much I feel like I just tried to enmesh myself in that campus community and the friendships that I had outside of the team as well. That I don't know. I'm grateful for Holy Cross and for Coach Claypool, because I don't know how common that is, in other D1 schools, to be able to compete at such a high level, while also being able to be more than just an athlete, but really devote yourself to so many parts of campus life that enriched me in so many ways that I just feel extremely grateful for.
Let's take one last break. When we return, we'll look back at Sam's legacy here at Holy Cross, right here on Sader Stories.
Leadership and excellence in competition, in the classroom, in the community. For decades, Crusader Athletics has focused on our topmost commitment, elevating every student athlete to reach for more, to grow more, to achieve more. Help us to continue to strengthen minds, build character, and celebrate together as one Crusader nation. Because when we commit together, we win together. Join us, Crusaders together.
Many financial advisors are commission-based advisors that work for a bank. At Car Financial, we work for you. Our primary focus is helping our clients achieve their goals. You worked hard in your career. You've earned your retirement. Now let us show you how to make the most out of what you have. We're here to answer your investment, retirement, income tax, and estate planning questions. Through every stage of life, we're here for you. Call us at Car Financial Group today.
Looking for something to do during February break? Well, for any home game at Holy Cross the week of February 17th, you can secure up to 4 free youth tickets with the purchase of 1 adult ticket. Catch Crusader men's basketball, men's hockey, or women's basketball on the Hill. For more info, please visit goholycross.com/tickets or call 1-844-GO-CROSS. I'm Kevin Gehl, voice of the Crusaders, and this is Sader Stories, presented by UMass Memorial Health. On this episode, we're celebrating Holy Cross Varsity Club Hall of Famer Sam Fregenti from Crusader softball, class of 2013. Coaches at Holy Cross, Sam, always say, becoming a Crusader is not just a 4-year decision, it's a 40-year decision. Beyond softball, how do you feel Holy Cross best prepared you for the career you're enjoying today in public health?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be in the career where I am today if it weren't for Holy Cross. I I I don't think I realized going into it how much I would appreciate the Jesuit education. That it just contextualized your studies in a way that just totally changed my worldview. It was, this approach of men and women foreign with others, and what it means to bring a social justice lens to your work and your worldview and your day-to-day life. And it just completely changed the direction of my life and values to this day that I still come back to. It's because of Holy Cross. I did the Jesuit Volunteer Corps for a year after school, where I was working with people that were experiencing homelessness, often due to reasons related to their mental illness. And now to this day, I'm working in public health and government to really try and address those systemic drivers and policies that contribute to people being unhoused and to experiencing mental health. And all of that is because of the education that I got at Holy Cross. So I credit exactly where I am today, and it just prepared me so well academically. I went to grad school at an Ivy League institution, and I feel like my coursework was more challenging when I was in my undergrad than getting my graduate degree. So I'm always so grateful for the rigorous academic experience that I had there. Maybe not at the time when I was in it and at the library at 3 a.m., but afterwards for sure. And then just the community. I know I keep coming back to that, but having that community of my teammates and the friendships and the professors there have just helped me navigate just the highs and lows of life since I've graduated. I don't know what I would do without the community that Holy Cross has given me.
It's wonderful that community means so much to you. And I feel like that came through in the message from one of your teammates, Colleen Ahern, who posted a lovely tribute before your induction ceremony. She said your entire family made her feel at home at Holy Cross. What does that mean to you to hear from a teammate, a younger teammate who felt like she was at home at Holy Cross, not because you were hitting homers, but because you were a part of that community and welcomed her in?
Yeah, I mean, it's just that feeling is unmatched. And I was so grateful for Call's message. And I know it meant a lot to my family too. Um, One of my fondest memories is we would play Stony Brook on Long Island, and afterwards, would take the big Silver Fox bus down my like suburban street and have it parked in front of my house so we could have like Long Island pizza and pasta after our games. To know that that meant something to my teammates, especially those that came from farther away. And to this day, they talk about that. It just, yeah, that feeling is unmatched, and I'm just so grateful.
We have a wonderful worldwide alumni network through the college and quite a few grads living in New York City. How are you representing Holy Cross down in Manhattan?
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite things is going out and wearing Holy Cross gear and giving shout outs when either people say something to me or I say, we'll call if I call out someone who I see wearing stuff. I think for a small college, we're like sneakily kind of everywhere. It's pretty remarkable the presence that we have. Yeah, I think it's something as minor as that, to as big as like Dr. Fauci, who is a Holy Cross alum and came to my work because of, we were his speaking to, I worked at the health department during COVID. And so I think just as far reaching as that, so that's just pretty remarkable just to see that extension. And then my closest friends are here, like a couple subway rides away. That presence is felt really strong.
Keeping alumni connected is so important for any college. And I feel like John Ladino, the new head coach for Holy Cross softball, really has a good feel for this. You got to meet him during your induction weekend. How are you going to stay connected with the Crusaders as they begin this new era this spring on the diamond?
Yeah, no, I'm really thrilled to have met Coach back in this fall, and so excited for the ideas he has, and I've already been talking to some of my teammates about how more we can get alumni involved, and we're planning to go to Army when they're playing there since that's fairly close. And no, I think there's more both presence at games, but even just other opportunities with mentorship and connecting with the current team is awesome. We loved meeting them this past fall, and so I think building more spaces to make those connections, outside of the field is something that we're hoping to work with Coach on and really lean into.
And lastly, you mentioned mentorship. With all your success in such an impactful way at Holy Cross, not just as a student athlete, but in the record books and in the campus community, what kind of advice would you give to those current Crusaders listening today?
Yeah, I I would just tell them, cherish that time that you're on the campus, even the toughest moments where you maybe are not doing your best academically or athletically. Those moments just really prepare you for your life outside of campus. And so I think just cherish that, and not let, I think it's a very intense time. And I think looking back on it, I wish I gave myself some grace in some of those hard points, and really just cherish that the times that I know that all of that hard work would pay off, whether translating academically, athletically, but even just in my life and career outside of at Holy Cross. So I think just really cherishing and valuing that times, like the times that you have there.
Wonderful advice. Sam, thank you so much for joining us. Really, really nice to connect with you. Congratulations again on reaching the Hall of Fame. And I'm glad that the induction weekend was so special, not just for you, but your family, your friends, your teammates, and your in-laws from all over the world. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, Kevin.
And thanks to everyone for tuning in. We ask that you tell your friends about Satyr Stories, available anytime on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. If you love hearing stories like these from Crusaders, please leave us a 5-star rating and review. That's going to do it for now. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Kevin Gehl. Go Cross Go.